The Grammys first were held in 1959. And on that night, Ella Fitzgerald and Count Basie were the first black people to ever win a Grammy. Ella Fitzgerald actually won 2 Grammys that night. But it would be 15 years before a black person would win Album of the Year. Stevie Wonder. Yes, Stevie Wonder would win Album of the Year in 1974 for his album Inner Visions. And he would actually win 3 Albums of the Year. But in the 65-year history of the Grammys, only 11 black people would win Album of the Year. And of those 11 black people, 3 would be women. Natalie Cole in 1992 would become the first black woman to win Album of the Year for her album Unforgettable. Y'all remember that when she sang with her father, Nat King Cole? Yes. And she would be followed by Whitney Houston, I believe that was 1994, for the Bodyguard soundtrack. I know y'all remember that one. I get chills. Yes. And Whitney Houston was followed by Lauryn Hill in 1999 for The Education of Lauryn Hill. Yes. And Lauryn Hill was the first ever hip-hop artist to win Album of the Year, and she was also the last black woman to win Album of the Year. And white men have won 32 times. Well, 33 if you want to count the year 2023. So I must say that I was rather confused when Harry Styles went up to accept his award for Album of the Year. Now, mind you, he was up against Mary J. Blige, the Queen of Aunties. Beyonce, my own personal diva #1. I have several of them, yes. And Kendrick Lamar, the man who reminded me to put away my slave name, yeah. And Adele, British diva, yeah. He was up against these individuals, and yet he won Album of the Year. And in his acceptance speech, he said, "This doesn't happen to people like me very often." And I went back through my calculations, and based on my calculations, it said, "But yes, it does." So I was confused by that statement. Young man, things like this do happen to people like you very often. Maybe you haven't seen my calculations. I can share them with you if you'd like.